Ever been north before?
Never seen snow before.
Down south, the air smells like pig shit.
You've never been down south.
I've been to Winterfell.
That's the north. I think there's always surprises for characters in this. You know, Jon Snow's heard of Jorah for his entire life, this notorious seller of slaves. And then, of course, the actual person turns up, and Jon can see he's a good man.
Jon is all about honor, right?
He has a sense of this incredible weapon he has.
It's been in your family for centuries. It's not right for me to have it.
I think Jon and Jorah make a connection which evolves during this journey, and there's a shared history which was a love of my father.
I've forfeited the right to claim this sword.
Everything that Jorah does is about seeking forgiveness.
It's yours.
There's a sense of closure for him in saying, no, he gave it to you and I don't deserve this.
The Hound for Tormund. He's a huge guy. He's mean. He's crazy. And, you know, Tormund loves mean, crazy guys.
Well, I mean, the Hound doesn't really talk much, and that's going to be a gruff conversation.
The Hound is a very difficult guy to become friends with. You're the one they call the dog.
Fuck off.
Not the talkative guy. The Tormund is, I want to make babies with the great big monsters that conquer the world.
How did a mad fucker like you live this long?
I think the running theme, it seems quite apparent with Gendry, is, you know, lack of family. That's the thing that he's sort of searching for. He's kind of looking for surrogates.
I wanted to be one of you. I wanted to join the Brotherhood, but you sold me off.
The sense of betrayal, I feel, you know, certainly hasn't left Gendry.
Do you know what she did to me? She strapped me down on a bed. She stripped me naked.
Sounds all right so far.
I think it was quite embarrassing to see him again. We weren't anticipating ever seeing him again. But, you know, he went off with Melisandre. It wasn't all that bad.
Good lad.
So chuffed to be part of this ragtag bunch that gets to come out to flipping Iceland.
When that portcullis comes up and out we go, a Magnificent Seven or a Dirty Dozen or the Dirty Dozen -5, you know it's going to kick off.
Arya has this piece of very incriminating evidence against Sansa. So she goes looking for it and she doesn't find it, but she finds a bag full of severed faces instead, which is creepy. And then her sister appearing without any sounds, creepier still.
Not what you're looking for.
And as they get into the discussion about what these faces are, she starts to see Arya as a real physical danger to her.
The game of faces didn't turn out so well for the last person who asked me questions.
Tell me what they are.
Going into the final episode, I think Sansa is bringing with her a real fear about the idea that Arya might really want to murder her. It's a fear that Littlefinger expertly stokes.
Is that what she thinks? I don't know what she thinks. I don't know her anymore.
We knew that if we were going to send them north, to have them trudging across snow-filled landscapes would take you so far, especially once there's a big zombie polar bear in the middle of it. At a certain point, you have to find the army of the dead. We were thinking, how can you possibly survive that situation? That was the thing that was the hardest for us. We came gradually to the idea that the one way they might survive is to be in the middle of an island. And then you put 5,000 or 10,000 whites on that ice coming after them, that might believably be something that would break the ice in a way that they didn't.
At a certain point, they're just fighting for their survival. Once they retreat all the way to the middle of the lake, there's nowhere farther to run. She's always been willing to risk her life to do what she thinks is right. And in terms of going north to rescue them, a number of people up there have different claims on her heart. You know, Jorah has been by her side from the beginning, and he saved her life so many times, I think she would feel as if it was a betrayal if she didn't at least try to save him. And then, of course, there's Jon Snow. You definitely get the sense that he's become quite important to her in a pretty short amount of time. He sees that they're all going to die if the dragon doesn't take off. The rational decision at that point is you guys go to safety and I'll try to keep them off you as long as I can. He's the guy who jumps on the grenade to save the rest of the platoon. That's always been Jon. The thing with Cold Hands is it all has to somehow work in a pretty compressed time frame because there just isn't time. We need the emotional connection. Cold Hands has to somehow convince him very quickly to do what I say, and the easiest way for him to do that is to show his face.
Uncle Benjamin!
Jon kind of has to respect the decision because he just did the same thing. For Cold Hands, I think it's almost a relief in some ways because he's been trapped in this kind of purgatory state between life and death for quite some time. And like so many of the characters in the show, waiting to find out what his purpose is. Why is he still alive when he should be dead? And for him, it seems like he's found his purpose in these last 2 seasons by saving first Bran and now Jon.
I think that when she sees him return on the back of Cold Hand's horse, that's a big moment for her in terms of the way she feels about him.
I don't think either one of them really knew exactly how powerful their feelings were towards each other until these moments. Just the notion of falling for someone, that involves weakness. It's not something a queen does, but she feels that happening, and he feels it happening for her.
I'm sorry.
I think both of them are on kind of unfamiliar ground, and especially because it's with an equal.
It's kind of hard for her at that point, I think, not to look at this guy and realize that this is not like the other boys.
The dragons are my children. They're the only children I'll ever have. Do you understand?
The whole path of the show in some way had been trying to map out all the episode endpoints, and with this one it was the dragon opening its blue eye and realizing that the Night King has finally gotten his own weapon of mass destruction.
What was fun about the sequence, in an awful way to us, is that up until the end, it's very close to one of those battles where all the good guys get out the other side and more or less scot-free. But we knew that killing the dragon was going to have a tremendous emotional impact because over the seasons and seasons of the show, it's really been emphasized what they are to Dany. We knew that the Night King would see and seize this opportunity. I like to think that when the dragon dies, that it's kind of a 1-2 punch, because on the one hand, you're just seeing the horror of one of these 3 amazing beings like this in the world going under the water and not coming up again and processing that. Then you're processing something that's even worse, which is when it comes back out from under the water again, and we see in the last shot of the episode what it becomes.
Game of Thrones saison 7 en exclusivité et en simultané avec les US sur OCS, le bouquet 100% cinéma-série.
OCS, vous êtes fan, nous aussi.
Enemies to the east. Enemies to the west. Enemies to the south. Enemies to the north. Whatever stands in our way, we will defeat it. We're the last Lannisters. The last ones who count.
I was born to rule the 7 kingdoms. And I will.
The king in the north!
Your father and brothers are gone, yet here you stand. Last best hope against the coming storm.
If we don't put aside our enmities and band together, we will die. And then it doesn't matter whose skeleton sits on the Iron Throne.
The Great War is here.
Game of Thrones saison 7 inédite à partir du 17 juillet sur OCS, le bouquet 100% cinéma-série.
OCS, vous êtes fan, nous aussi.